Welcome, divine radiant beings. Welcome if you're new here, and welcome if you're returning here. My name's Emily. I'm a cosmic priestess, and I bring through light language transmissions, really to just assist everyone who's on the path with me in their awakening and healing journeys on this ascension path. This rocky road, this roller coaster ride that can have lots of twists and turns and ups and downs as we embody more of our light. I'm here to just share what I'm going through as a fellow light worker, you might say, a fellow sensitive soul. And I feel that if you're drawn to this video and to my light language transmissions, I trust that it's really supportive to you. And, you know, as I've said before, if you've watched my videos, I feel this is a collaboration. I feel like everything I bring through is assisting you, but you're assisting me too. And so I'm so grateful for this growing community, for this sort of real divine unfoldment. For me, this is feeling such a powerful time where we're connecting with our soul family. We're really igniting more of our power and our bringing more of our gifts and our light to the world. And there's some real accelerated change happening. I don't know if you're feeling that. And so I'm just here to assist with this process with the light codes that I can bring through me. And what serves me serves you, and what serves you serves me. As I said, I'm just showing up as the human representative for my vast cosmic team, who are all here collaborating with your teams. And so I just want to share a bit about what I'm going through to begin with, as usual, as the human who's going through this expansive process. And we're coming to the end of April now, and I've been talking all through this month about this cranking up of energies, this accelerated time, this supercharged, fast-paced energy, and all these dynamic astrological transits that have been happening that are really affecting us. And of course, there's a lot more to it. I like to reference astrology because that's kind of a blueprint that we can navigate by to just work with those energies. But of course, we all have individual paths. We all have individual astrology charts and transits that affect us differently. So I just like to use it as a sort of reference point as we navigate these times, but also then open up when I bring the light language transmissions through to this higher wisdom. And I always say higher, but I kind of mean simultaneously higher, deeper, wider wisdom that is available, that is even beyond what we even can conceive of with our minds. And I'm feeling that more and more. I'm feeling the more I go on this path, the less I know. And the more I'm having to completely embrace the unknown and realize that it's in the unknown that we have absolute freedom and absolute expansion. But the ego letting go of the control, the need to control, the need to feel safe, the need to predict, the need to feel certain about things, that grip is really strong. And through this last month and days even, I'm still letting go of those old patterns and programs. I'm still coming out of, personally, the full moon in Scorpio energies, which was such an emotional roller coaster for me. I've been in floods of tears, meeting deep shadow, deep old wounds. You know, that's what this moon was all about. And then we're still in the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which is still active. And of course, all these energies last more than one day anyway. And yeah, I'm feeling this. One thing I heard an astrologer say, which resonates totally with me, is staying grounded when the ground is changing. You know, can you relate to that? You know, really trying to find that stability, find that grounding, find that sort of sense of center and who you are when you don't know who you are anymore. Finding that ground when the ground's shifting beneath your feet. You know, trying to find a way forward when you're feeling like you're walking blindfolded and stepping into the unknown. And all the time, letting go of more stuff, becoming new, letting go, becoming new, letting go of the old, becoming new. This constant deconstruction, reconstruction simultaneously. That's certainly what I'm going through, and I trust that if you resonate and you're listening, that you are at least resonating on some level with all of this and experiencing quite a lot of change in your life. I listen to Lee Harris and who channels the Z's. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Check him out on YouTube if you're not. He does great energy updates, and he's a sensitive soul, and I really resonate with him. And the Z's who he channels brought through a message for 2024, and a key theme for the whole year was strength, cultivating strength. And I'm certainly feeling that. And I feel like my spiritual strength is building through all of all of these changes and all of this transition. And in fact, transition was one of the main themes for this month. And I'm certainly going through massive transitions in my life. Letting go of a 17-year-old relationship. I've, moving house. I mean, so much is happening in my own life. But that's just on the physical 3D level. I mean, on the inner level, the alchemy is profound that we're going through right now, what I'm going through right now. And obviously, I'm here to help with healing. I'm a healer, you might say, or facilitate healing for others with my work. And I really have to be a pure, clear vessel. And so I need to do a lot of work on myself, and my practices for the last few weeks have been really stepping up. I mean, I always spend a lot of time in practice because that's just how it is. This is just what's my soul's guiding me into this path, and I don't follow any structure or any philosophy or anything like that. It's just all from within. And I, do a morning and evening spiritual practice, and this last week or so, it's been 2 hours every morning. Not that I've set aside that time to do that, but it's just how it's evolved. And I've really needed to excavate some really deep held density that is really needed to loosen up, and it's really funny to me how, you just think, oh, surely that's enough already. When's this going to end? Surely I must be done now. I mean, we know we're never done, and we know we're always evolving. That's part of being on earth, isn't it? And part of going through this time of ascension. That is what this is all about. But if you're on this healing path with me, you must have those days when you're like, enough already. Is there even more here? How deep do we have to go? It's like the well just gets deeper and deeper. And the Scorpio full moon was really interesting for me because, even more deep-seated fears came up that I didn't know. Suppressed fear is big. I think many of us are still carrying these really deep, old fear patterns that are still from this our ancestors, and through this collective, it's ingrained in us, so it's been programmed into us. This deep fear of not being safe, of being separate from the wholeness of who we are, from being it's all based on separation, isn't it? The perceived separation, that we are separate from the divine, and so therefore we can't trust in that we're always where we're meant to be. We can't trust that we're being called forward, and we're guided from within. And even just before I showed up for this video, because every time I bring one of these transmissions through and sit down to create a video, I never know what I'm going to do. I just show up and create sacred space and set all my intentions and do all the energy work. And I even had to do a bit of energy clearing before I could bring through this video today. And I'm finding that it's happening a lot. Like it's integrating throughout my life. So like I said, I have my morning and evening spiritual practice, but it's not like I have my practice and then I get on with my human life and then I go back to the spiritual. I do the practices that set me up for my day, for all the work I have to do with clients and so forth. But then all throughout my day is, it's not a separate thing. Like I've talked about this before, we're embodying our spirituality, our higher selves, and into this physical experience and ascending through the physical. And as we do that, we break up the distortion and density, don't we? And expand more into who we truly are. And that is in all areas of our life. That it's because so that perceived separation between the physical and the non-physical, and the mundane and the spiritual, that's still separate, isn't it? So that's us perceiving there is a separation. And even in some of the talk in the sort of spiritual circles about, we're going to leave the 3D behind and go into 5D, and I can't tell you what's going to happen on what all this means. I'm doing like you, intuiting into what I'm feeling, and I always encourage everyone to follow their own inner guidance. That's vital. But I don't feel like I feel like going into this new earth or unity consciousness that we're evolving into is inclusive. That's why we're coming into a more unified state within us. And so even as we go through this process, it's easy to slip into that separation still, isn't it? And feel like things are still bad or wrong, or we need to get rid of things, or that 3D is all wrong and we berate the 3D. Whereas I don't feel that. I feel that we don't have to chuck the baby out with the bathwater, that we are in this third density and we're evolving into fifth density, or whatever, however you term it, you know. We're evolving and elevating our consciousness. But I'm feeling, and I can only speak from my experience, that that is happening through the physical and expanding the physical. So it's not like, I don't feel like we're necessarily leaving something completely behind, but we're including it into the wholeness of more, if that makes sense. I'm kind of just thinking aloud here, or feeling aloud. And so where was I with this process? So yeah, so going through this process, personally, over the last month, this has really escalated into, you know, deeper levels of embodiment, and finding our footing, finding my footing, trying to find this ground when the ground is completely shifting constantly, trying to find who I am when who I am is changing constantly. I mean, who am I? And it's letting go of those identities, letting go of the programs. And it's a really fascinating month. I feel like massive shifts are happening this month. And I feel like more of us are really waking up this month and shifting out of some very, very old fear-based patterns and separation-based patterns. And I'm speaking to a lot of people who are feeling really this deep urge, this deep call within them to come more into their gifts and to bring more of their light to the world, and desperate to know what that looks like, desperate to leave the old behind and leap into this new, but not knowing what that new is yet. And sort of, you know, having the responsibilities of the 3D, having the job and the responsibilities, and really feeling this urgency to be more fully expressed, this urgency to be free, to be who you truly are in the world without limitation and constraint. And this is what I've been bringing through my videos. I feel it's a real theme. So I'm already feeling like some light codes are wanting to come through soon before I go off on a massive speech here. So I do feel like this is evolving. And the one thing that I just really came to me that I want to share with you about that, and what I've been going through. So I've known this process because before I started creating YouTube videos and bringing light language through, I had many, you know, on the floor in tears moments. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to use my gifts? I don't know what I'm here for. You know, it can feel desperate, can't it? And we get really impatient. We have to overcome massive fear of being seen and all the witch wound and all of that. We have to go into deeper levels of trust and faith that we've never known before, even though we don't know what things look like. We have to navigate through what we think we should be doing and how we should be doing it, and let go of a lot of that and step into new paradigms about how things can be. I mean, there's massive levels to this. And what came to my mind, and I actually found the clip on YouTube, was that clip in Indiana Jones, and I can't remember what one it is. It's called The Leap of Faith, where I don't know if you remember, where he's standing on the edge of a precipice, and it's a big cavern, you know, it's a big cliff, and then there's a cliff on the other side, and huge drop, you know, and it looks like he's completely separate from the other side. And you know, his dad's saying, you have to believe, and he's going, okay, it's the leap of faith, I can jump to the other side, I need to jump to the other side. And then what I love about it is that he doesn't start going, okay, let me visualize this and work this out, how is this going to happen, I need to jump. He actually does this. He actually puts his hands on his heart, and he goes to his heart, and he closes his eyes, and you see his physiology shift. He comes out of that, okay, I need to jump, like as in I need to make something happen here, I need to get to the other side now. He goes, okay, and he just suddenly went really calm, and he calmly stepped forward, and as he stepped forward, the bridge appeared. And the funny thing is that I love about this, one, that he went into his heart, and his heart just calmly guided him forward, just one step. He didn't have to leap, he just took that next step. And when that bridge appeared, the bridge was there all along, because it was just an optical illusion that it wasn't there. So that sense of separation, that I have to get somewhere else, that I'm not already there yet, and that I need to force this and jump and make it happen from that place of angst, and that is a thing that I need to have now. He just came to his heart, let his heart guide him calmly to the next step, and then once he was stepped on the bridge, he could look, and he suddenly saw that the bridge was actually the same material. It was the rock that was connecting the two sides. So it's actually wasn't the separation. He was just actually, you know, of the same stuff that is on both sides, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, okay, just coming into your heart and letting your heart navigate, and letting go of that angst and that confusion and that sense of you're separate from what you are seeking and what is seeking you. You know, what is meant for you is, I believe, is going to come into your experience, and it's the angst and the resistance and the feeling it has to be a certain way, and the impatience and the fear and all of that stuff that prevents that, and also realizing the divine perfection and divine timing of all of this. And I don't know really why I'm going on like this, but I feel it's for a reason, so I'm hoping it's supporting some people who are watching. And I relate to all of this. I had to do this myself, and for me to create these YouTube videos was that process, was exactly that process, and still is to a certain extent, because every time I show up, I go, I don't know what to talk about. I what have I got to bring? Who am I to share anything? This isn't, you know, I don't even know what all this means. You know, I'm bringing through this light language transmission. You know, people are going to think that's really weird, and I don't look like a starseed, and I don't have all the explanations for this, but I do it anyway. And obviously it resonates, because so many of you are commenting that it resonates, and I really appreciate that, because that's helping me take the next step and the next step and the next step. And so this is the process. And I'm hoping that these light language transmissions that are coming through are just helping with all of this, you know, helping us let go of all the blocks that are, or the perceived blocks. Because really, you know, what are blocks? Is anything wrong in this process? Is anything, you know, that's the thing. Are blocks wrong? You know, who says that there's a right and a wrong way? I feel if we're here on a mission, we're called to be here at this time, is for a reason. And if we're just coming into our heart and going through this natural organic ascension process and evolving, healing, growing, expanding, you know, you can't really go wrong. What's meant for you is meant for you. You might go on a more convoluted route, but say that sometimes even the convoluted route is perfect. You know, I had a client this week, and that's what came up in the transmission. That it wasn't necessarily about having that direct path that you can see perfectly, that is open, expansive, and just, yeah, you just walk straight. Sometimes, and for me, that wasn't my path at that time. It's feeling a bit more open now, but I had to do lots of twists and turns, because I needed to develop skills and mastery and strength and boldness and courage, and do all the healing work and face challenges, so I could bring all of that into the work and my transmissions. And without that, I wouldn't have that richness and that experience and that ability to really truly hold compassion and empathy for those who are also going through these challenges. And also, a lot of people are really feeling that what they've done already in the real world, in the 3D world, has not been right, and has been not spiritual enough. And I also want to say something about that yes, it might be that you're ready to expand more into more of your soul gifts now, and go into a different mission. And I feel that a lot of us are doing that. I'm just going to have to take a sip of water. But a lot of us are bringing immense light just by being human, or it's not just by being human, of course, bringing your light through the human, through working in a regular job, or whatever it is that doesn't feel spiritual, Don't ever underestimate the impact you might be having on people. And not just that, but when you're ready to expand further into your gifts and bring more of that to the world, when you're ready and it's ready for you, then all of that counts for something. You know, whether whatever you've been in doing and all of your life experience and who you are, it is rich material. It makes you and the individual expression of the divine that is needed. You know, we're all unique jewels, really, aren't we? With all this multifacets as part of one big jewel of multifacets. And I had to learn that too. That all that I have been and who I am and just being me is enough and is what is needed. And there will be people who gravitate towards me, people who are repelled by me, and that's absolutely divinely perfect. And that's why we're all needed and we're all important, and we're all really going through this it can feel like a squeeze as we're letting go of those old patterns of perceived limitation, perceived separation, perceived constraint, making it wrong, as we birth into who we truly are, which is a natural process and you can't force it. And I know that angst you can feel. I know that feeling of I'm not doing enough, I'm not being enough. And I feel like this is part of this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction of bursting through a lot of that, and all the astrological placements and transits and all of the energies that are going on are just breaking down all of that old stuff that has been keeping in this perceived constraint. Yeah, so my last video was about that liberation, so I'll be interested to see what's going to come through today that's going to further move on from that. And I have no idea, I'm just talking. I hope this is supporting you, and let's see what light codes want to come through to just assist with this and open up this conversation to a higher perspective. So let me take some more water. Getting quite passionate here, and I know what it's like. It's how you can feel, and I've just spoken to the reason I'm talking about this is because I've just spoken to so many of you. A lot of you have been emailing me, or we've been having conversations, or I've been working with people who are going through a lot of this, and I totally relate to it. And I feel like it feels very disruptive because of the Jupiter Uranus is in Taurus, you know, which is our body, which is the earth, isn't it? It's the physical. And so it can feel really uncomfortable, it can feel jarring. And there's probably more to this, so let's see what wants to come through. What wants to come through to further expand on this, and anything else that is beyond even this conversation that is really helpful and supportive and truly of benefit to those who are watching. As usual, and if you're new, please do use your discernment whether you feel this is the right time for you to receive this light language transmission. You don't have to understand it, you just have to feel into your body. Your body never lies, so if you feel an expansiveness or a yes, then welcome. And listen, I invite you to take time and space to listen to this. You know, you're not passive in this experience, so as you choose to be receptive and, you know, trust your higher self is guiding this whole thing, see if this is the right time for you. Give yourself space, make sure you're you know, it's just for your benefit. If you want to receive the benefit of this, just give yourself space for it, really. And I appreciate you being here. So what wants to come through for this beautiful community that is of pure divine love that truly assists everyone in the most highest best way? So immediately I'm sensing it's coming, we're coming to the heart. And it is about that unlocking of the heart to a certain extent to allow that level of trust and that feeling of safety. That's what also came up just before I did this session. Letting go of the belief that you're not supported, that you won't be supported. And that came up as a core belief I had to clear just before this transmission. Ikatte kishin the kotta kishin the koshata kat nakata ishwat groshan the kotta hit the kishit grahatto koshwet hit the kata 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 ut grashin the koshwet grahata ish nikot grashata ishin nikot grashat gashin nikoshwat. The kishin the grashan the kotta kishin nikot grahata koshwet grahata kishit nikot grahata koshwenia. So I'm coming to the solar plexus and the heart. I'm feeling like there's going to be a big activation happening imminently, or is happening now, where so much more clarity is going to come through anyway, and that inner knowing. Yeah, and what I've just heard and was reminded of, that is the divine perfection of it, and that I was always told that, you shine when the people are there to receive the light, and there's no point in shining in a big empty room and just trying to blurt out what you're here for and just trying to force people to listen to you. When the time's right and you are ready to bloom, because it is, that nature has divine timing. When you're ready to bloom, you will bloom. E kashin krosha ka kashin koshpet krakata kashin nikut krahta koshpet krehte keshi. E koryana kasha no koryana kasha no koryana kasha akata ishpot kroshot karana kashet koshpet kashin koshwat krehte. Atte kashin no kat kashin kata ishwat kroshan kata kishin nikut krah kashin nikut krashit krahat ishe akot krana kashin nikut ishada na kashin nikut ishwat krashan nikut ishwat krakato shwenia. Ikata kashin kasha ta kashin nikut kashin nikut wishit krashan nikut ishwat krashin nikut ishada krana kashin oshwat krehte keshi. So still really, I'm feeling I'm like loosening something up from around the heart and solar plexus. I'm just hearing right now it's about freedom. So let's see what expand on this. Akatta kishin niwot kashan kata ishwat roshan koto koshwat krakata kanukot kishit roshwat krahate kishit roshwat krihite. Oh, so this is quite interesting. So what I'm hearing is there's this big program running that we're not free, or we're not able to be free, that we still feel we're not free. And there's something stopping us from being free, and it's just all about freedom. What if you could be unconditionally free now? And of course, that is part of the theme that I've been expanding on. Like the last one was all about liberation, so this is interesting. And part of that, I think I'm in the mind now, so it's a part of this sort of mind control or mindset, or why is it so hard for us to just relax and know that we are held and we're supported. You know, we fundamentally feel unsafe and unfree, don't we? And that is what is changing. So I'm also holding a mudra right in my solar plexus still. But I'm really much, I think there's a lot of this is about mind as well. Irana kata no kotoriana shato isha de garshana ko ishwa de grehite kishit roshana kata ishu no koshwani. Akata ishwa de roshana kata ashin ni koto ishwa de roshota kata kishini. Kishak koshwa de grakata gashwa de roshana kata ishin ni koto grahashe. Shayana kotoriana, shayana kotoriana, shayana kotoriana. Okay, so what just came then? I wanted to say it and I couldn't because they wouldn't let me. I'm feeling the energy of Mercury now. Mercury, messenger of the gods, or Thoth. Which I believe is going direct today, starting to go direct. So that's interesting that came in. I forgot about that. Oh, I'm really feeling the energy of Mercury. Huokata ishana kata ishwaroshana kata kashana kota ishana koshwata kata koshwata karashwata and koto ishwata roshana kata ekshita roshata kata kishana koshwata kata koto ishwata karashana koshwata karakata ishina koto ishwata karanakashi. Kirano Kirano Katekeshin no kotigrana katakashin yukurana katekrashat koshwata katekeshi tigrahatekeshi. Iketekrashana katakashina koto ishwata roshana koto ishwata karakachi in koto ishita krashana katakashwata koshana kateshini. Ikot grahat. Ishita krashana koshwata karakatakashin yukut grahite. Ishit karanakashata ishwata karakati ishita krashwata karnakoto ishwata karashin nikut grahite kishe. Iketekrashana katakashwata roshana koto ishwata grahite kishe. Kia kata ni kota karete, shita kota shina kata kini atore na kashita koshana kata ni kota ishe, akata achiti koshana kata katno kata kashata ani kota karete kashini aka. O kata karan shata kashana koshata kata kota ishwata kashana kata kashini kota kashata kata kota ishata kashata koshwat karete. Ikata kashana kata ata kashana kota kashata kata ishwata kashana kota kashini kota kashata kata ni kota ishwata kashini koshwata ni kata ishata kata ishe. So now I'm feeling something very expansive, really, really going up into some very, very high rounds. There's some kind of opening up to this very high cosmic wisdom. Shayana Kotoriana. Akata Kishana Koshwata Garana Koshwata Garakato Ishwata Garana Koshwata Ishwata Garashana Kotokoshata Garahit Gashata Koshwata Garhite. I just feel like I somehow just opened up or accessed some very super highway to some distant galaxy or something. So it's very interesting to me. I was talking about a lot of safety and things, and all of this is uppers, you know, solar plexus upwards so far. It's very interesting, like it's a lot of mind stuff. Something really coming in about mind and brain waves. And so yeah, interesting. We're just slowing down around the heart now. Oh, complete energy shift. So we're back to the solar plexus and heart like we were at the beginning of this transmission. Sheyana Kotoriana, Sheyana Kotoriana, Sheyana Kotoriana. Sheyana Kotoriana, Sheyana Kotoriana, Sheyana Kotoriana. Kiranu. Kiranu. Irana katarana kotorena shan. The korshan the kati ishinyo, kutkara hete, kishinyo, kutkara hate. So I'm just feeling like I'm doing something around the heart now, just bringing in something here around the heart, some opening it feels like, some recalibrating. So I feel like this is really sort of breaking through some mental limitations, some mental programming, so we can access our deepest, highest, most expansive cosmic wisdom. I really felt was connecting in, or was opening up to some really higher cosmic wisdom that wanted to come in and into the heart. And through the heart, I feel like it comes through the heart, and opening up our heart to expand even more, to open up even more. So I'm just seeing it actually as this light coming really into and through the heart to just expand even more, sort of clearing these mental programs, distortion, opening up to new levels of freedom and belief in your freedom, knowing of your freedom. So, what I'm just seeing now is, like when you have a glass ceiling and you just don't feel like you can get beyond that, and there's that cap. I feel like we did something to sort of burst through that today somehow. Let's see. Anything else that wants to come through before we close? I always say this is really interesting what I'm seeing and seeing now. I've just heard that a lot of you are in the interim period. And like I'm seeing a rocket ship that it's going to launch, but it's just its engines are just getting fired up. And it's just waiting to go, and it's not quite ready to launch yet, but the launch is inevitable, it's going to happen. And I'm feeling that energy now. Anything else? Trust in the inevitability is what I'm hearing. It's an inevitability. And what I'm just sensing now is like a lot of you kind of going, yeah, but, and yeah, but. And what I'm hearing and sensing is that what we're doing today, these light codes are working on deeper levels to really dislodge some of that stuff, those programs, those belief systems. And the more you can come out of your mind, really, the better, and be in your body and be in sort of movement, be in joy, be in expression, just being in life, like enjoying your humanity. So what I'm feeling and sensing is there's a lot of us amongst us who just feel, oh, we're not being spiritual enough, or we really want to have a spiritual vocation or be in our spiritual gifts, and which is lovely, and a lot of us are called to do that. I'm called to do that, but I'm still very earthy and grounded, and I love being in the garden and having my human experience, and I love dancing and singing and cooking, and all of those things are important to our well-being and to the wholeness of who we are. And some of us reject that part, thinking it's not enough, it's not spiritual enough, or it's not important enough. But expression as and through the physical vessel as part of our spiritual human experience, we're divine human beings, and we're part of this physical, and we're more than this physical, but we're in this amazing life to live it through the body, right? Through pleasure, through play, through sometimes switching off the mind, but not through trying to meditate harder, not through trying to be more stillness. Sometimes it's through going for a run or a walk or a swim, or playing with some kids, or your kids, and your dog or whatever, and just, or cooking a beautiful meal. That's richness. That's your creative life force energy in action, in motion. Maybe cooking a meal for your neighbor would be more of a spiritual act, you see, or just nourishing your body and honoring your physical body by nourishing it with a beautiful meal, or by walking, or by smiling and chatting to your neighbor, even if they're really not awake. I feel this is really all part of it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. I feel like this was a bit longer than I anticipated. Let's see, anything else before we close? Just weaving through some light here, just as we close. So the image I'm getting, so I'm just going to share it, is like some goldfish in a bowl. And these goldfish are just, all they can see is this bowl. And they feel that that's the bowl, and they need to just be in this bowl, and that's all there is. But they've forgotten what it's like to be in the sea. And that there's all these beautiful ocean to explore, and different kinds of fish, and it's all beautiful richness, right? A rich ecosystem, and we're all part of this ecosystem. We're all different, have different parts to play, different roles, different, types of fish. And we just think we're in this bowl sometimes, and that's all there is. And we forget, and we've been forgetting. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you. That's just what I was sensing. Okay, and the final message I'm just hearing is the time of illumination is coming. It's interesting. And trust in your divinity. Trust from your divinity. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Gosh, so a lot came through there. I wasn't expecting as usual. I always turn up and just do what I feel, and I hope that helps some people out there, and let me know. I always love reading your comments and love this interaction. I just honestly am so touched by your comments and our interaction. It just means so much to me. So thank you. Thank you for being here. If you're still watching, I think this is quite a long video. I didn't mean it to be this long. So thank you if you're still watching. And if you want to check out my offerings, all the details are below. I have free offerings and one-to-one sessions and all different ways of working. If that's what interests you and resonates, please feel free to check that out. And I'd love to connect with you more. But I'm just appreciating you being here right now. And I really hope all this supports you in the highest, best way and assists you on your path. And it's a pleasure to be walking by your side. I'm sending so much love and blessings to all of you. Take care.